Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Rohan, and today I'm going to be doing a gameplay of Little Nightmares Part 2, which just came out a few months ago. I only played this game like about 2 weeks ago, and since then I've already played it twice because it's just so thrilling. And every time I go back to the game, I find new interesting details that I missed before. And because of what I know now, the game takes on a whole new level, so I'm eager to play this a third time around with you. We're starting our game with Mono lying in this wilderness next to what looks like a very out of place television. At this point in the game, we have no idea who Mono is, why that television is there, and what that has to do with anything, but we will eventually find out. So, I absolutely love the animation and graphic design in this game. It's just stunning and beautiful in like a twisted and dark kind of way. It sort of reminds me of the graphics and animations I often find in old 2000s Tim Burton movies like Coraline and The Corpse Bride and The Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, just look at this detail. There's a bag full of rotting human flesh with flies swirling around it, and our protagonist can actually jump and hold one of the dead corpse's hands. It doesn't get much grimmer than that, but well, having played this game, I do know that it gets a lot grimmer than that, at least in this world. The sound design is brilliant. All you can hear are the flies buzzing in the background, the breeze swaying, his gasps. It's the flies buzzing that's really corporeal and tactile. It just you remember you know how when you sleep and sometimes there's a fly buzzing around your ear and it's really annoying and it's also kind of disgusting. That's how I feel right now listening to these flies. It's amazing. So there's a trap up there, gotta avoid that. In terms of gameplay, it's quite similar to Little Nightmares 1, as in you push things, turn cranks and levers, jump, crouch, and do all of those kinds of things. The controls are pretty similar, except in this case, there's the option to call out to someone by pressing the triangle button, which is pretty new, and you'll find out its purpose later in the game. Alright, gotta go where it is friends. I also love the paper bag aesthetic they've got going. Like, I mean, they already created a pretty iconic character with an iconic outfit in six, with her yellow raincoat, which stood out prominently in her dark and grimy world. I think his trench coat isn't quite as uh, bright and it doesn't stand out in this world quite as much as the yellow raincoat did, but I do think the paper bag aesthetic is brilliant. And although you can change his hats throughout the game by collecting new hats, I prefer to go with the paper bag. Gonna toss this over here to set off the traps. So these are all pretty strong clues that we're in a hunter's lair. A hunter who clearly doesn't like people on his property and has laid out all these traps to catch people and, maybe string them up the way those other people were. you have to be really focused on all the environmental elements around you to figure out what you can actually use to get through a particular scene. In most cases, the environmental elements that you have to use, like this piece of branch, will be highlighted, but that's not always the case, and sometimes you have to be a bit creative. Okay, so all the traps have been set off. Alright, I think that's about it. Alright, so we found a home, and considering all the traps that we just crossed, it's probably not a wise idea to go here, but you know, it's a game, so we've got to see it through. Okay, I don't know what I got from doing that. That music you hear, you have to be... Remember that music is gonna play a vital role later in this game. So there's a girl sitting over there, and we have to get her. You can try getting this machete, but it snaps off, can't be used. Axe. Okay, she clearly does not want his hand. I'm gonna follow after her, see where she takes me. But first, I'll explore this other area. Okay, so this is a really interesting detail. It's not a part of the story, like you can't do anything with it, except maybe like toss their food away, which should have been done several weeks ago, considering how stale it is. But these people, so they're clearly taxidermied people with distorted features, and even though you can't do anything about them, it adds to the mystery, like who are these people? The inhabitant of the house, what is he doing with them? Who is he to them? You know? So this girl is gonna lend him a hand, and this clearly shows why she's here. She's gonna be an AI-driven helper for Mono. They're gonna perhaps solve puzzles together. Uh, there are gonna be some activities in which both of them have to get involved. Considering that 6 in part 1 was completely solo throughout, this is a welcome addition and a change. They could have probably made it a double player kind of situation. Someone else could control her, but I don't think, I think they chose not to do that intentionally because the game is meant to be played alone, because loneliness and fear of abandonment, they're prominent themes in this game. And I think the developers really wanted to drive that through in the player. And I think they've done a brilliant job of that. Alright, so I've got to pull this liver out of this taxidermied woman's hand. And again, it gets me like thinking, why is this guy, you know, taxiderming all these people? Who are they to him? Does he trap people in his multiple traps in the forest and taxidermy random people? Is that what will happen to Mono if he's caught? Or do these people have some significance to this guy? Alright, so now Mono is going to climb up on the mummified remains of some person. You can see all these flies buzzing around there. You can see some kind of liquid or acid preservant probably dripping down from it. And these mummified remains, they remind me a lot of the mummified remains of the little children from part 1. The janitor used to mummify little children and send them up to the twin chefs in the kitchen to be cooked for the guests. And these mummified remains remind me a lot of that. So it's possible that whoever owns this property mummifies people and, you know, turns them into taxidermy, or like a substitute family that's just ever present in his life. Okay, so those are other like shadow creatures things that you can collect throughout this game. And right now it might seem random, but their significance becomes very apparent in a very dark way later in this game, so keep an eye out for them. Alright, so this is the first time that we're actually seeing the main antagonist in this particular chapter, the Hunter. As you can see, he's doing something with probably meat or humans, we don't know yet. He could be turning them into taxidermy, which he seems to relish doing, as he's done to some of the other people, or he could be mummifying them. Alright, so we've got to run now. And we've got to hide behind these crates whenever he's loading the shotgun. That's his weakness, that he's slow in reloading shotguns, so we've got to make use of that timing. Always hide behind the crates while running away from him. Never try to go at it, you know, all the way without using those crates, because that gives you some time to, you know, make use of his reload speed. So we can hold her hand as well, which is like a cute detail. So in this particular area, I died several times before figuring out exactly what I had to do. So because they're so tiny, they can hide underneath the blades of grass. So you've got to crawl your way through so that you're just at the level of the grass and never higher, and you've got to go still whenever the light comes closer towards you. That's how you get out of this alive. This game does not reward impatience. Like even out here, it's really tempting to like just make a run for it, but that will give it away. So you've got to, yeah, you've got to like be quiet. You can't just make a dash for it. Alright, we're on the other side now. Free from the hunter for now. Alright, so this bridge is another example of how our two protagonists are going to collaborate with each other. He's going to pull the bridge, allowing her to pass through. And once she's through, you gotta get closer to the edge, give her a call, and she'll hold out a hand for you, allowing you to jump through and grab her. I think this is not an entirely realistic thing, not that I'm complaining, because there's no way he could have made that jump all on his own, even with her hand assistance. Alright, so we've got another hat out here. It's a miner's hat, but I prefer his paper bag, so I'll keep it on. And there we have the hunter again. I'm gonna go through. Use the crate to buy yourself enough time. Even when you really feel like you can make it and you can run through zone, just pause behind the crate. Otherwise he will get you. Alright, it got me. Alright, now you gotta hide out there in the corner. Wait for him to exit the scene and then you can go out. Again, you've got to be really patient with this game. If you're impatient or try to get through it fast, you're not gonna make it and you're gonna have to do a lot of redos. Alright, so I can hide here for now and get through. Oh no. Again, you've got to be patient. See what I did? I wasn't patient enough. You can also take your cues from the little girl. If she is moving ahead, it usually indicates that the coast is clear for you to move ahead as well. Alright, so once he's done shining his light, you can go through and then get down. It might be tempting to go down all the way, but you can't do that because he can only hold his breath for a little while underwater. So you've got to go down till you're out here behind this. Timing is crucial in this game. Time yourself just a second here or there and you're gonna be dead. You're gonna be taxidermy for his like freaky family. Okay, use the crate to crate. That's the formula always. Yeah. Alright, get the gun down. Oh, he's not getting up. Damn, this character is slow. Like, I mean, he's a kid, I get it, but it's also frustrating. That was awesome. Yeah, that was legit awesome. But do you see how there's like a ringing sound now? Everything's gone hollow. There's just a ringing in the background. That's, because their ears are ringing, obviously, from having shot the shotgun. It's an amazing detail. That was really satisfying watching them, like, and especially because they don't often. I mean, they're little tiny kids, so they don't get a lot of opportunity to do combat here, which I think is brilliant. So, watching them just like blow the hunter off using his own shotgun, amazing. Alright, and now we're just gonna ride the raft, see where it takes us. Yeah, just really beautiful. All of it looks stunning. So you can see a lot of television sets floating around here. And they're not random. Those televisions are very important. In fact, they're going to be an especially important detail later in this game. And all of this, everything that you're seeing, it's a part of a larger story and narrative that you don't know yet. And as you become more aware of the larger story, all of these details will suddenly start making so much more sense to you, which is why it's always a rewarding experience to go back and play something again. So that city that they are wandering off to, perhaps they don't realize it, but it's the Peel City, and it's a city brimming with danger, and just their presence in the city threatens all of mankind's civilization in general, but they don't know it yet, and they're wandering into the city thinking they're escaping from the hunter when they're actually running towards something far more sinister. Just take a moment to like appreciate the beauty here. There's another little shadow child. Again, you'll understand what the shadow children are and what they signify later in this game. Nothing is random here. And that brings us to the end of chapter 1, The Wilderness. Thanks for watching.